I am very honored to introduce Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard, spiritual alchemist and best-selling author. Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard is a catastrophic stroke survivor, self-mastery expert, and CEO of the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. Dr. Valerie helps people de-stress and meets life's up and down and with more courage, confidence, inner peace, and happiness. She is the author of the #1 international bestseller, Living Happy to Be Me, Dancing Your Soul Lifestyle. So I will now let Dr. Valerie begin her talk, which is called This is How You Help Emerging Adult Soar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Olivier. Thank you to all of you who've chosen to be here with us. Congratulations to you. And thank you to the Wellness Universe for having me be a part. So you heard Anna and you've heard other people mention some really ugly statistics about the status of mental health in the world. And it's pretty bad, especially in this group that I want to talk about. So my talk title, This is How You Help Emerging Adults Soar. The whole idea is about these people, these precious beings in this age group of 18 to 25. Some places go up as high as 29, but helping them have an exquisite life. And whether you're talking about the World Health Organization data or other organization data, it's pretty bad. 20% of them across the globe experience some kind of mental health issue. 14% have major depressive episodes. 8% actually have a clinically serious mental illness. And that's pretty bad. And then Anna even mentioned the rates of suicide in our young people. It's just not appropriate that in developing nations and even in nations that are wealthy, that suicide can be the #1 or the #2 cause of death in these age groups. So I want to give you some perspective on how you can support them to be more mentally well. This by no means is everything that can be done, but these are some of my favorites. So after my corporate career, I spent over a decade teaching at the University of California, Irvine, directly engaging with undergrad and graduate students in the business school and also throughout the campus in student affairs. So I've been with them, teaching them, listening to them, having office hours with them, and I still work with a number of them through my nonprofit. And what I hear from them is all they really want to do is thrive, just like us. They really want to thrive. And the problem is that their degree programs, if they're in school, and sort of the rest of the surround sound of life doesn't really equip them to do that. And so they're really thirsting for ways that they can up-level their inner game. So I created this curriculum, my Living 101 Being Happy and Whole curriculum, kind of came in to be tested and see if it's a viable option. Here's some of the interesting stuff. We piloted it for 4 years, and the quantitative data that we collected during that time frame, combined with other data on this age group and how they grow, it suggests that they can very well be taught how to thrive, how to support themselves, to create in themselves the conditions that take them to their highest and their best. Highest and best to me is synonymous with thriving in your life. So one of the primary foci of what I teach is that your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have. It matters. It's the penultimate. And all your other relationships are based on how well you do that one. So the discipline that we worked on with young adults is called self-mastery, and I do that with young adults and others as well. And the definition is mastering you in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. And as we all have been hearing in this beautiful session together, our lives can bring us a lot of stuff our way that we don't even want and have to deal with, whether we want it or not. So self-mastery is about an internally focused discipline. And I love that the previous speakers were talking about this as well. Internally focused discipline. And I'm really unaware of an equation for mental and emotional wellness that works optimally without this focus. Internal awareness, that's who am I being when I think I'm being me? What's going on in me that is somehow showing up in my life, my experiences, my relationships? So emerging adults and the rest of us almost never will be able to change the outer circumstances that could be the sources for their mental unwellness. Say that again. Our mental unwellness is often driven by outer circumstances. We've heard about stress. There's genetic predisposition. There are past traumas, social isolation, peer pressure, bullying, a number of things that this age group, 18 to 25 or 18 to 29, is navigating. And so when you consciously get aware of, well, how do I do it? How do I navigate? It's about the conditions within. So the idea would be that the way you help them soar is help them set the right conditions within, such that as they express themselves outwardly, they are in the highest vibration for creating the most magnificent lives. And that includes with mental wellness. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that you can think about and look at. Am I helping them do that, or am I doing something else? So first, I love this, cultivating agency. Agency. So agency in the psychological realm refers to an individual's sense of control or capacity to take successful action in their lives. Research suggests that agency is associated with some really cool things: resilience, confidence, an overall sense of well-being, knowing that I have the capacity to control aspects of myself in my life. Agency is also an important force underneath my favorite 3 C's. And that 3 C's are consciously choosing to change. Consciously choosing to change the aspects of the self that are not serving them. And there can be a number of those, from what they choose to eat, to how they choose to sleep, to what they choose to do for careers, to how they interact interpersonally, to their vulnerabilities, all of these things, and noticing how I'm being me so that I can consciously change to something that serves me better. So it's not about good or bad or right or wrong. It's really about, is this serving me? Even if it's right, is it really serving me? So that's agency. The next is to use your wherewithal to guide them to create a lightness of being. And this comes from a practice of releasing things that could be weighing them down. I call it cleaning out the emotional junk in your trunk. This includes all manner of emotional and mental heaviness, the weight of limiting beliefs, the weight of self-doubt, of comparison to others, of having a negative inner voice that always takes you to task for every little failure or mistake. The friendships where the person is like a vampire, or they're a rotten apple who only builds themselves up by tearing you down. Like being able to, in an emotional, healthy way, help them see that lightness of being is beyond what they're dealing with right now. Like, how can you guide them to the practices? And you've got a couple of them in your toolkit from today. How can you guide them to employ the practices that help them be more self-accepting, more self-loving, and less serious about even the most serious of situations is really crucial. Last is to support them to be more well-rounded. That is done by expanding their idea of their self, the self, beyond the intellect and accomplishments. So young people often are given so many visuals of success. They are conditioned to believe that it's about amassing wealth, amassing titles, and accomplishing things, and showing how brainy they are. But that means a lot of left brain activity and a lot of human doing instead of human being. And so your help for them to cultivate the right brain is a great way to integrate both hemispheres. So creativity, intuition, artistry, mindfulness, playfulness, one of my favorites, laughter, emotional intelligence, and holistically thinking about themselves in their lives and their lives in the world. This means supporting them to regularly quiet the left brain, quiet that rationality, so that they can hear something speaking at a deeper internal level. So the HeartMath Institute calls this voice of heart intelligence, and I love the focus that we've had on the heart chakra and the heart, the physical heart. This heart intelligence, and they've been collecting data for over 20 years that proves, quantitative data that shows that when we get connected to this like inner voice, so some people call it their inner knowing. I have a friend who calls it my guidance. Other people call it their higher self, higher consciousness, whatever you call it. This still small voice from within, when we quiet the rational mind and listen, can expand our abilities to hear what's not being said, to see the unseen, to persevere, to overcome, to stand tall, and to succeed. All of those abilities are associated with mental wellness. So take a deep breath, because here comes some mojo. So I would be remiss if I close without saying that to help them, you got to help yourself. You've got to be growing yourself in all the ways that I'm talking about and demonstrating. It's about role modeling emotional intelligence, mental wellness, rather than blah, blah, blahing about it. That's why I love how each of our speakers so far has given us an actual practice to do. And we'll be doing one in a minute as well. So this, creating a loving and open environment through which you help them emerge and see how they're their own worst enemy. Putting an emphasis on validating their feelings when they're talking with you about what's going on, rather than looking for how you validate your feelings. Listening in neutrality so that you can hear everything that they're saying. So I encourage you to investigate the principles and practices of gentle parenting, whether or not you're a parent, and also managing your own emotions. And so one of the tools that I love is from the HeartMath Institute, and it's to help you with overcare, which is defined as a tendency to care too much about what other people are doing, to try and invoke yourself into investing in the outcome and worrying excessively. So the tool is, I'm going to walk you through it. So right now, just take a quick, deep breath, and I'm going to tell you the bits and pieces. You may not be able to do it all right this minute. So the first thing you do is you connect to a place where you're dealing with this young adult and you're worried about something that's going on with them. So maybe they're missing car payments. They want to take a gap year and you're freaking out. Whatever that is, recognize that feeling in you and that you're worrying about it. Then you go into an inner and outer exhale and breathing through the heart, connecting with a deeper sense of you in your heart. You take a few deep breaths, and then you imagine that even in the midst of that trouble, you're breathing calmly. Even in the midst. You recall a positive memory next. So now that you've calmed down, bring up a positive memory. Gratitude always helps that. I always used to go to my puppy dog. It may be your favorite pizza, walk on the beach, whatever that is. You connect with it emotionally, not just mentally. And then while you're in the energy of positivity, you choose a positive outcome. You choose a positive outcome. So finally, you're imagining that what's happening here that you've been worrying about is actually resolving in a beautiful way. You don't exactly know how yet, but you're training yourself to step away from worry and trying to manage the outcomes into, how do I be a pillar of strength and support and positivity for this young person? So that's it. Freeze Frame is a simple yet powerful tool that can be used in a variety of situations to help you self-regulate so you can help an emerging adult soar. So thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for attending today's session and for supporting mental health awareness. A portion of the proceeds from our event will support a reputable, nationally recognized mental health organization. So please do use the link in the chat to make a contribution.